It is a common myth that the eyes and the brain act like a camera, imaging what you see around you. But this just is not true. The brain interprets its surroundings, even without your knowledge, and your thinking brain receives a processed, you might say biologically photoshopped image, not the real thing. This image is a great demonstration of that effect. Squares A and B on this image are exactly the same shade of gray. Now I know it doesn't look like that. It doesn't for me either, and no amount of staring at this picture will make them look the same. But if I start to block out everything except those two squares, you can start to see them look different. Until at the end, when that's all you see as far as context, A and B are exactly the same shade of gray. I had not changed the picture at all. I have simply covered up all the other parts of the image. So what's going on here? Visual information is collected by the eyes, and that information is scattered all over the brain. There's one part of the brain that analyzes horizontal lines, another part of the brain that looks at lines at a 30-degree angle. All of these different parts of the brain are analyzing all the different parts of the image. This parallel processing takes place to get an image to the thinking part of the brain as fast as possible. It looks for patterns, it matches against expectations, it matches against things you have previously seen, and not all the data is there. A lot of the data that comes in is unnecessary, and there are literally blind spots where there are no data at all. The brain interprets, makes assumptions, adjusts, extrapolates, and then just makes things up to give your thinking brain its best guess about what you are actually seeing. So what's going on in this image? Now, if you did have a camera, it could see that squares A and B are the same shade. But you as a human, what you see is the checkerboard, and you know what a checkerboard is supposed to look like. You also saw, and maybe not even consciously, but your brain saw that B is in a shadow. And that shadow will affect the shade of the color, and your brain will adjust for that. So these combinations of things lead your brain to disbelieve that A and B are the same color and adjust their color before it sends the image to you. You can think about other places this shows up. For example, when you thought you saw something in the shadows. Well, perhaps the patterns in the shadows triggered something in the brain, and the brain actually added it to the image. So you did see something in the shadows, but it just wasn't there. Also, when you're proofreading, you can read over the same mistake over and over again because your brain expects that word to be spelled correctly, and so it doesn't send to your thinking brain the actual incorrect version of the spelling. That's a good reason why when you are proofreading, to read it out loud, that extra process of saying the words can help catch a lot of mistakes. So your eyes and brain don't work like a camera. And realizing that can not only explain a lot of optical illusions, but it can help you think more clearly.